One of the criticisms directed at the WWE product is that most of their storylines are formulaic. Most fans can work out where a storyline is headed thanks to years of watching the WWE product. WWE seems to enjoy this rather traditional approach to storytelling. In their defense, this approach has and continues to work for them, as they remain the biggest wrestling company in the entire world, but there are certain tropes embedded into the fabric of WWE that fans would like to see the company move away from. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE tropes that are insanely outdated. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Number 10. Can they coexist? The "can they coexist" storyline trope is so common that it's turned into an ongoing joke on social media, and WWE have even referenced it directly on television. Whenever two conflicting talents are in the middle of a feud, WWE likes to pair them together as a tag team to determine if they can coexist in order to get a W. This storyline can work extremely well, with notable examples coming in 2007 with Shawn Michaels and John Cena, and 1998 with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker. Unfortunately, WWE have run this trope into the ground in recent years and seem to enjoy delivering the storyline every single month. One of the major issues with the story is that it often comes at the expense of the tag team division, as two individuals who are reluctantly teaming together usually win the tag team titles, which naturally sets the tag division into a tailspin. Number 9. Big guys rule? Now, throughout the history of WWE, one trope has been cemented, and that is that bigger, larger-than-life talents are going to be pushed. This has had mixed results over the years. Talents such as Kane, The Big Show and The Undertaker were all major success stories because they were able to define themselves outside of their natural height. However, for talents such as The Great Khali and Giant Gonzalez, despite WWE's best efforts, they were simply pushed because of their size and could bring nothing more to the table. This trend continues to the modern day, with talents such as Omos being pushed due to their size and WWE refusing to give up until they become a star. This trope is outdated, as it simply isn't enough for a talent to bring size and stature to the WWE. You have to be able to go when the bell rings, or else their character simply isn't going to work in the 2023 product. Number 8. David vs. Goliath. Speaking of WWE having a habit of pushing larger talents, they also seem to enjoy a classic David vs. Goliath storyline. This usually works for WWE, as there's a lot of casual interest in seeing two wrestlers with differentiating heights compete in the ring, but for die-hard wrestling fans, it's grown very stale. Fans had hoped that when Triple H took over WWE Creative that this trope would be fizzled out, but in November of 2022, they still had a segment between Ricochet and Braun Strowman, and the focus was once again on their size difference. Number 7. Supernatural characters. The most successful supernatural-esque character in WWE is arguably The Undertaker. The Dead Man's gimmick was handled to perfection, and there will never be a gimmick quite like it. When WWE have attempted to replicate the success of the Dead Man character with other supernatural characters and storylines, they seem to have all paled in comparison. Take for instance Bray Wyatt. It just looks corny and cheap, and WWE fails to put the production value to make the supernatural elements look realistic. In fact, WWE Hall of Famer Edge hated the idea of his Judgment Day stable having a supernatural edge, and he completely disagreed with WWE's creative direction. This was the right call from Edge, as the supernatural elements that were introduced were heavily mocked and ridiculed by fans. Supernatural gimmicks and storylines in WWE can work, but they have to be handled with care and attention, or they're just going to receive laughs from the audience. Supernatural angles are extremely hard to pull off effectively, and it's probably much easier for WWE Creative to put their focus into other avenues of storytelling. Number 6. Contract signings. Contract signings in WWE have been a tool implemented to make big matches appear even bigger, but WWE are at risk of overusing the concept. It's become custom that the contract signing will end up in some type of violence, and WWE even actively references this as the segment takes place. The contract signing segment can be used well, but when even WWE are mocking and referencing how formulaic they are, there's a huge issue. Maybe it's time for them to rework how they're delivered, perhaps have them take place in pre-recorded segments backstage, or get rid of them altogether. It's been an ongoing question in terms of WWE lore in relation to why only specific matches receive contract signings. In the kayfabe world, every match signed for a pay-per-view needs a contract attached, but why do certain contract signings take place in front of a live crowd on television? It makes for an interesting discussion. Number 5. The Evil Foreigner. The Evil Foreigner character is one that's been embedded into WWE's core. WWE immediately assumed that any character that originates from outside the US should be presented as a menacing anti-American heel. This character has become insanely stale over the years, and characters such as Rusev and Jinder Mahal have shown that characters of this nature have rather a short lifespan. When Mustafa Ali was pitched to do a similar character, he would butt heads with former chairman Vince McMahon, and the two would even engage in what was reported as a tense argument. WWE have to look beyond these lackluster types of gimmicks and realize that just because someone doesn't come from the US doesn't mean that they instantly have to be branded as a heel. Number 4. Oddball pairings. X-Pac and Kane. Team Hell No. RK Bro. What do these three teams have in common? Well, they were all oddball pairings that worked incredibly well. WWE has had major success with this formula, but they're at the risk of overusing the concept. They began to use this trait throughout their programming, and some of the results have been utterly disappointing. Pairings such as Matt Riddle and Elias simply don't have any connection. WWE simply assume that if two different characters are paired together, it's going to be universally loved. This simply isn't the case. Number 3. The unbeatable top guy. One of the main complaints during John Cena's time as face of WWE was that he was turned into Super Cena and subsequently was presented incredibly strong, so much so that he never seemed to lose. This turned any army of fans against Cena, as this type of booking simply wasn't compelling and could be frustrating to watch as a WWE viewer. Fast forward to the modern era in WWE, and Roman Reigns is the face of the company and hasn't been pinned in a match since late 2019. He also held onto the Universal title for over 2 years. Some fans appreciate that WWE are presenting their top guy in such a manner, but there are those fans who question if it's too much. There are evidently no clear plans for Reigns to lose before a huge show such as Wrestlemania, so some fans believe this makes matches completely predictable. Do WWE need to move on from the era of Invincible top guys? It's certainly up for debate. Number 2. The anti-authority storyline. The definitive babyface versus authority storyline in WWE took place during the Attitude Era, and it would see Stone Cold Steve Austin embark in a feud with Vince McMahon. WWE have attempted endlessly to replicate the success of this feud, and they have ultimately failed to recapture the magic of the Austin vs. McMahon saga. This storyline trait has continued over the past 2 decades, and WWE still likes to dedicate a ton of TV time to these types of stories. They captured lightning in a bottle when it came to Austin vs. McMahon, but it's time for WWE to retire the storytelling habit indefinitely. And number 1, where is continuity? Continuity is king. It exists through all forms of media, from movies to TV shows, and it also exists in pro wrestling. WWE have been substantially criticized over the past 2 decades for outright failing to stick to their established lore and continuity. When 2 wrestlers are involved in a blood feud, it's not out of the question for a few months down the line for them to be randomly teaming together on an episode of Raw or SmackDown. Their prior bad blood won't be mentioned, and the 2 wrestlers will act like they're best friends despite trying to end each other's careers a few months prior. When Triple H took over WWE Creative, fans hoped that this would drastically improve, but it seems like WWE Creative continues to struggle in this aspect. Take for instance on the final SmackDown of 2022, Kevin Owens teamed with John Cena. Owens and Cena were previously mortal enemies, but they were suddenly friends because Owens happened to be a babyface. This is an easy fix, as all WWE needs to do is to incorporate a line or 2 of expositional dialogue that references the prior bad blood and explain they have a common enemy. It really doesn't seem that difficult, does it? But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE storyline tropes that are insanely outdated. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.